Yeah, so defending your nights and weekends is something that I did not do earlier in my career. It's definitely taken a long time. I was first licensed in 2003, and when you're young and you have nobody to worry about except maybe your significant other and like your, social plans, it's not that big a deal to just be that 24/7 agent who's on call all the time, but it's not sustainable. And so I have put a lot of effort into trying to make my work weeks look as close to what a 9-to-5 employee would look like as possible. It's obviously never going to come that close because of what we do, but I put a lot of effort into it. And so I'm, like Kyle said, I'm always here, usually no later than 9, unless, the surf is really good and I get late. But like sometimes that happens. But usually I'm here between 8 and 9, and I'm working, and I'm trying to get home by 5:30 or 6 because I have 3 kids and they go to sleep at 9. So if I don't get home till 7 or 8, I'm probably gonna barely see them at all that day. And it's like, that adds up. If you make that a habit and you're not conscious and you're prioritizing being that 24/7 agent to everybody, instead of being there for a few hours in the evening, then you'll probably never see your kids and your wife. So, just having that as a priority and making sure that when you are here, you're super productive is something that I've really focused on over the years. That being said, like I was just mentioning to Kyle, I was in Utah sitting on the couch in the cabin after snowboarding, and I wrote an offer, right? So like things happen, and if it's time sensitive, then I'm going to be responding to that. Like if there's something that comes up at 8:30 on a Tuesday night, like I'm going to step into my home office and I'm going to take care of it, but I'm not going to stay there another hour knocking out some emails while I'm at it and like fiddling around online. I'm going to go do what I got to do and then try and set it down again. And the same thing goes with my weekends. I make an effort to have either a full day off or 2 half days on the weekends. Sometimes I work all weekend. I try to not let that happen very much. And I would say more often than the days that I work all weekend, I probably equally amount. I work no time on the weekend sometimes as well. So, but more often than not, it's either a couple half days or 1 full day, and I just try and block the other day out if I can. And you can do that. You can work with clients. Everybody's malleable. And yes.
I got a question about that.
What's up?
Do you is that really rooted because you have a family who's off on the weekends from school and whatever? Like if you didn't have kids, would you pick like Thursday or Friday or something?
Yes, it is because I have a family, but also I've never really been a fan of having like a midday off. It just feels weird to me.
Yeah.
So I don't think that we work like more than most people. We're not 40-hour work week. Like typical 50 or 60, I would say for me, right? So if you're working that much, you're not gonna have a full like time off. So just like figure it out, whatever works better for you. But you gotta have some time off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think for myself, I'd probably be better if I took a Friday off, so that like Saturday and Sunday was completely open for showing.
Yeah, and like your girlfriend's not here in town, right? So you can do whatever you want. It's all your time is yours. And you people that do not have anybody you're hooked up with, please realize what a luxury that is to have.
Well, I don't know what else.
What did you think I was going to say?
It's a luxury for work.
No, it's a luxury to own all your time and to not have it dedicated to other things. Like very little of my time is mine, like truly mine. And that's another kind of motivator to try and defend all this, right? It's because so much of my time is either dedicated to work, dedicated to family, or whatever I'm doing, that literally I've kind of had to build in that time in the morning to go surf, or the occasional date night with my wife. And other than that, there's not like real me time. When you're single, that's not an issue. So soak it up and embrace it and know that it's probably limited. Yeah, it will come to an end. Your time will not always be yours. So yeah, I make exceptions obviously for if there's an emergency, if deals are going to fall apart, I'm going to stop and deal with it. If there's something that, there's a deadline for an offer submission or whatever, we make sure it happens. But if there's emails that come in, even if they're high maintenance clients that want a response right away, like they can wait till the next morning, because I'm the one who's going to decide if it's an emergency or not. They're not going to be the ones who could decide if it's an emergency, because something can be an emergency for somebody else. And not for you. And you guys could probably relate, because if maybe a friend or a coworker reaches out for something they really need your help with, and maybe you were busy and you can't get to them for an hour or two, by the time you do, they're like, oh, I took care of it. Like, cool. So that was an emergency for you, not one for me, right? So you got to have that context and think about what's important, and as far as you trying to get things done. And I have this bullet point that says, mention subtly how you spend your personal time. Like, I've mentioned to clients, like, well, I've got church on Sunday mornings, or, I try and have a dinner with my kids in the evenings or something. And if you just passively, not like they're asking for your time, but somehow in conversation that comes up, they respect it. People aren't trying to be rude. We do have some clients that are completely self-absorbed, right? But that's the minority. That's not the majority of the clients you work with, where they're just don't give a damn what you're doing with your life, and they want themselves to be taken care of all the time. I don't remember where I heard this quote, but it's so true. We teach people how to treat us. And part of that is expressly verbalizing, like I said, how you spend your time defending it. And part of it is just when you respond, like I talked about, with somebody who might need something right away. If it's not time sensitive and it's something that the deal will still be fine if you wait for another 10 hours to get back to them, then go ahead and get back to them in the morning. Like, it's fine. It's going to be all right. And if they get upset with you, you can just be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was tied up with my family having dinner. Like, what are they going to say? Or, you know what I'm saying? Or, I was on a date last night. I'm sorry I couldn't get to you, but I took care of it this morning. As long as you're courteous and you're professional, because you didn't just drop it all together, you took care of it, but you did it at a time that doesn't impose on your life, like, things will be fine. It's going to work out. So it's especially with first-time buyers, but a lot of times with anyone in a transaction, because transactions are stressful. A lot of times people think that things are urgent when they're not. So we just have to keep that in like I said, we're the ones determining what is urgent. They don't get to.
Yeah, I'll respond to clients all the time too. If I get that call at like 7 o'clock at night, I'll just respond with a text, hey, I'm tied up having dinner with the family. Is it okay if I give you a call back tomorrow at 9? Like, just set that expectation. If somebody's like, no, you need to call me now, like, fuck you. That's what I was want. But like, no, people, when you say like, I'm tied up with family, like, can I go? 99% of the time, they're like, hey, no problem. Have a good night with the family. Like 99% of the time, you're going to have that one asshole every once in a while, but 99 out of 100 be totally cool with it. And just set that expectation. Like, it's 7 o'clock, dude. Like,
yeah,
I'll call you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And a simple text message gets the job done.
Mm-hmm. And even to the little things, like you get a list of 3 or 4 properties that your client wants to see. And maybe you've got a wide open weekend, but you don't want to just say that. Maybe you want to try and bulk all your showings in the morning or all your showings in the PM. So just say, hey, would it work out for you guys if we showed at X, Y, and Z? Instead of saying, hey, when would work best for you, right? Like, take control of that narrative and just be aware of how you're talking to people. Because like I said, we teach people how to treat us. And over the time, when they don't get the immediate response, if it's non-urgent after work hours or whatever the case, people start to respect the fact that, like, yeah, you're a person too who's got other things to do besides, respond to every beck and call that they've got.